Hello everybody, welcome to GCLC. From now on I'll try my best to give you update about UK student visa, and through the live Facebook live video I would like to connect with international students who live outside UK. I'm a lawyer in this country and also lawyer in UK, and also I was an international student before, and UK is my home and I'm a citizen of this country. Today I will talk about few things, not only for particularly Bangladeshi students. I will give some advice and tips and suggestion what you do, what you not to do regarding student visa. So anybody applying for student visa from outside the UK, this advice is going to be for them. This advice is purely for those students who are living outside the UK. So please, if you are living in this country, you're applying the rules and your advice would be quite different than the people who are living outside this country. What I would like to say today is, again, I will explain my in this video I'll explain in two different languages, Bangla. Also I will explain in English, and also I'll speak in Urdu and Arabic. So I speak four different languages. Obviously some English, Bangla is my first language, but I can speak all those different languages. So I will try my best to explain those in different languages so you will understand. As you know, many of you from global consultants and lawyers chambers are going to apply for student visa, and I would like to give them some tips what you have to do when you make an application, and what you should not do when you make an application. As you all know, visa refusal is very stressful. এটা কিন্তু এত stressful visa refusal-টা. So this is very stressful, so you have to take it into consideration regardless where you apply. I saw people whose application get refused for Malaysia. I saw people whose application get refused for China. It's a very small country, still they are refusing your visa application. As you know that once your visa application gets refused, what you can't do, because obviously nobody is applying 6 months in advance. Everybody applying for their visa application literally 2 or 3 months before the class starting date. So in that case, what actually happen is you wouldn't have plenty of time in your hand. You wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't know what to expect. If your visa get refused, you miss your semester. You miss a lot of money, especially people who are paying their tuition fees. They miss some of their tuition fees. When they talk about tuition fees, mean administration charge. They miss their visa application fees. That is really annoying. I mean, if I would be in their positions, I would be really annoyed by that, because obviously financially I'm going to be a pure loser, and also I will have a stamp on my passport that will be very bad for other embassies when I apply for in different embassies. So I would like to suggest all the students who are applying for a visa application this time in September, you have to be very careful about what steps you are taking. You have to be very careful before you submitting an application. So as you know, I would like to give you some very important notes that I actually made on my computer. So I'd like to give you the main reason why student visas actually refusing from Bangladesh or any other country like Africa, country like Dubai. Even though people from Middle East who have a lot of money, even their application get rejected because of not complying the rules and regulation, because of not submitting the documentation correctly. So I would like to remind you, all of you, what steps you have to take for UK. For any other countries, we have a designated lawyer in Canada and USA. Sometimes I'll try my best to ask them to come on live as well and give you advice to you people directly. But I can give you the basic advice for those countries. But for UK, I would like to give you the actual reason why students visa get refused. So আমি সবসময় বলবো যে কেন আপনারা দেখবেন যে স্টুডেন্ট ভিসাগুলো কেন রিজেক্ট হয় ইউকের জন্য, especially for Bangladeshi students who are watching me now. Also all the people who will be watching my live video in future. For them, this advice is purely for those people who, and they need to know why their visa application are getting refused from Bangladesh or any other country like India or Africa. we do have students from Africa, we do have students from Middle East, so this advice is going to be purely for those people. So first thing, number one, why their application get refused is because they are sometimes not submitting original certificate, original documentation when they're submitting their visa application. Say, for example, I've seen people who are late or for some reason couldn't collect their certificate from their university, especially people from Bangladesh. Probably they cannot collect their certificate, transcript, original certificate or transcript from their university, or they are not they don't have much time to collect those documentation from their school or colleges. Therefore, what they are doing is they are submitting their photocopies of their documentation. This is a serious issue. This is the reason, because a lot of people don't understand. They probably apply by themselves. Probably they don't need to go. They don't really go to any agency who are expert or any lawyers. So they are actually complying or listening somebody who has, to be honest, no experience on this, and because they're listening from them, therefore their visa application is getting rejected, is because they are not complying. The first thing is not providing the original documentation, and second is missing documentation. People who are submitting documentation, so for example, you have a college certificate, you have a school certificate, and you missed one. You didn't actually provided your college certificate. Be very honest with you, embassy will never ask you any kind of documentation from yourself. They expect you to submit all the documentation when you submit your file. তারা কিন্তু আপনার কাছ থেকে expect করে যে you submit all the documentation when you making the application to the VFS center. So you have to be very, very careful when you submit your documentation that you do not miss a single document when you submit your application to the embassy. And also, a lot of people don't understand the Tier 4 regulation, especially people from Bangladesh, people from India. They don't really do the research. I don't blame them, because to be honest with you, if you read the Tier 4 guidance, it has more than 60 pages on the Tier 4 guidance. It is quite impossible for somebody to read this documentation and to understand the legal procedures. I mean, even I'm a lawyer myself. Even for me, even for other experienced lawyers, sometimes when they update things, it is quite hard for us to understand sometimes their rules and regulations. So I don't really blame students regarding that matter, because obviously you wouldn't have plenty of time to reading this. You just literally read the basic thing and you comply it and try to use those and then submit a documentation. So you have to be very, very careful when you submit a documentation, and you have to know the Tier 4 rules. And also, another main reason is unsuccessful credibility interview. That is a very serious issue. I talked about it previously, but today I would like to talk about it again. I mean, about a credibility interview, only reason is because that you know what to expect when you go for the interview. This advice again for the people who are going to apply from outside the UK. যারা ইউকের বাইরে থেকে অ্যাপ্লাই করবেন তাদের জন্য হচ্ছে এই অ্যাডভাইসটি. So when you go for a credibility interview, I'll just make a note that where I started. So when you basically go for the interview, and basically when you submit your application, normally what they do is they basically take your video interview when you submit your documentation in the VFS. So আপনি যখন VFS apply করতে যাবেন, সরাসরি they will conduct the interview. So what questions they normally ask you? They normally ask you about yourself, normally ask you about your university, your course structure, your tuition fees, where are you gonna go, where are you gonna live. This kind of questions. Also, they ask you about your finance, your intention, your genuine career aspiration. As you know, UK government charge a lot of money when when you submit an application. So you have to be very, very careful. You have to prepare those documentation when you submit those documentation. Otherwise, what is going to happen is your visa application can be rejected for some reason. And students who are going to apply for some kind of engineering courses, the university and the embassy expect you to provide ATAS certificate. A lot of students doesn't have those ATAS certificates. Sorry, I'm at home, so my son is crying. Literally, I'm extremely sorry about that, but please don't take it otherwise. I'm not in my office, I'm at my home. So আমি আমার বাসায়, বাচ্চারা হয়তো পাশের রুমে কান্না করতেছে, যদিও মাকে বলে আসি যে একটু just hold him tight, but I'm extremely sorry about that. Please don't take it otherwise. So এটা হচ্ছে একটা আপনার HS documentation. You have to have that HS documentation, HS certificate from the prospective country. যদি আপনার সেটা না থেকে থাকে, for if you apply for engineering courses, obviously we advise them in advance that what kind of certificate that you need. And also, other problem is not responding emails and the telephone calls. You know, sometimes the embassy will ask you, basically they ask you your email address, your telephone number, in case if they have any kind of inquiries and questions, they give you a call directly. So say for example, maybe you are busy somewhere, আপনি আপনার হয়তো কোনো গ্রামে চলে গিয়েছেন সাবমিট করার পরে, probably you went to your village, or you probably went to a different city, or you went for a holiday. Frankly speaking, in that case, if they can't hold you and they can't get information, I mean, it doesn't really happen all the time, but if that happen and if they can't reach you, they will say we couldn't get any information and we are rejecting your application for that. And also the money. This is also another issue. As you know, the Tier 4 guidance, you need to show that you have enough money for in your account for a long time, certain amount of time. So you have to be very, very careful that you have to provide that in advance. And if you have other, and you should have to be very, very careful that you should not have any gap. When you provide 28 days bank statement, you have to make sure that there is no gap. I have seen students who submit their 28 days bank statement, but there are sometimes what happens is their money threshold literally dropped. So you have to be very, very careful that আপনার যে টাকাটা আছে, the money you are showing, that money is actually stayed always the same, because if the amount is dropped for any reason, then your visa application will be rejected for not having the maintenance. And also, আপনার মাথায় একটা জিনিস পুরো ক্লিয়ারলি নিতে হবে, when you submit your documentation, you have to do one more thing. You have to do research about your fund. You have to understand where the fund come from. If you don't have that specific information, simple, আপনার visa কিন্তু reject হয়ে যাবে. So for today, this is what I would like to say. And if you need any further information, please drop a message. আমার admin team বাংলাদেশে যারা আছে, or also admin team in Dubai or also France, they will give you information that you need. Definitely. For now, we are taking application still for September session for UK. We have some universities who are still accepting application from the Bangladeshi students or Indian students. At least 16, 17 universities already mentioned that they are not taking any more applications, so we're not processing application for them. Thank you very much for watching.